Throughout our day, we are faced with many decisions. Luckily, we are able to choose for ourselves. The world is constantly changing and bringing new ideas and principles into this world. You can choose what gender you identify as or what type of sexual orientation you are. You can choose to even take the COVID vaccine. Choices will always present themselves as a basic human right. We should be able to have the right to choose for ourselves. Through regulated abortion laws in Idaho, women lose that choice over their own body. I am Trevin James, and I have done extensive research on abortion laws in Idaho, and I have listened to stories of how abortions impact people. I stand here today to support women's rights to choose for their own body. On the website Planned Parenthood, it says that Planned Parenthood provided abortion procedures to 327,166 patients last year who had unintended pregnancies or a pregnancy with medical issues. This helps many women. In each of our lives, we will either be faced with the decision of abortion or know someone who has to make that choice. In this speech, we'll go over the benefits of abortion and the choices a woman should be able to freely make, such as abortion or seeking guidance through Planned Parenthood. David O. McKay says, in a quote while talking about our own personal agency, that freedom of choice is more to be treasured than any possession earth can give. Listen carefully as I express the importance even further of freedom of choice. First off, let's start out with how Planned Parenthood relates to abortion. Planned Parenthood helps the women in their daily choices on abortion. Planned Parenthood is defined as a trusted healthcare provider, an informed educator, a passionate advocate, and a global partner helping similar organizations around the world. Planned Parenthood delivers vital reproductive health care, sex education, and information to millions of people worldwide. This definition is found on Planned Parenthood website. Their goal is to help people. A young woman came out and shared a story about how Planned Parenthood helped her. Her name was Shwana. Shwana was around 16 years old when her mother died of cancer. She stepped up courageously and was a mother figure to her younger sister. At age 17, she accidentally became pregnant. She says, "I went to Planned Parenthood and the staff confirmed my pregnancy. They took care of me. They were extremely compassionate and informative." She goes on saying in an article titled "Shwana" on Planned Parenthood website that she and her boyfriend weren't financially or emotionally prepared to raise a child. It was a tough decision to make, but she decided to abort the pregnancy safely because Planned Parenthood was there. She was lucky enough to be able to make that choice herself. She looks back now and is grateful she made that decision. She was able to finish high school, attend college, and become a certified nurse assistant and help people daily. It has been around 6 years since her abortion, and she is financially and emotionally stable and is ready to have kids now. Many people are fighting against abortion and use social media platforms to hate on abortions and other people who participate in them. Shwana's life would have been very different if she wasn't blessed with the opportunity to receive an abortion. Laws are constantly restricting abortions in Idaho, though. If laws restrict our ability to choose and make the right choices for us, we lose a part of our freedom. Many women are restricted by laws in Idaho. In the article State Facts About Abortions, Idaho, it says that the parent of a minor must consent before an abortion is provided. Having your parents know about your life choices is great advice. But not all teenagers have parents or feel comfortable enough to talk to their guardians. On the ACLU website, the article Laws Restricting to Teenagers Access to Abortion states, one study showed that 22% of teens who did not tell a parent about their abortion decision feared that if they told their parents, they would be kicked out of the house. More than 8% feared that they would be physically abused because their parents had beaten them before. Shwana in the story before was lucky she was able to get help and meet the Planned Parenthood, but many teenagers are not that lucky. They live in fear from prosecution from getting pregnant from peers and parents. This leads to some teenagers hiding their pregnancies from their parents. Later, when they decide they want to stop hiding and have an abortion, the laws prohibit them if they are too far along. Whether it is 1 week or 29 weeks into the pregnancy, It should be the woman's choice on her body, not the government's and not the parents'. There was a story about a rape victim. For the story's benefit, I changed the names. There was a young girl named Sarah. She was 13 years old, doing what a 13-year-old does. Goes to school, participates in sports and other activities, and hangs out with friends. One late night, she was hanging out with her friends, and an older boy offered to drive her home. She went with him, and later that night, she was raped. She felt violated, embarrassed, and that it was her fault. She was sad and lonely, feeling like her parents would just blame her and what she was wearing that night. She decided not to tell anyone, just to avoid it, that it would go away. After 2 months have passed, she realized she missed her period, and she goes down to the local store and gets a pregnancy test. Later that day, she finds out she's in fact pregnant. She was terrified. How was she going to hide this? She was suffering from PTSD from being raped. Now she has this awful evidence growing inside of her. The weeks started to pass by, and she became far along enough to start showing her pregnancy and was forced to tell her parents. Her parents took her to the doctor appointments to make sure she was healthy. Sarah was scared and didn't know what to decide right away about either carrying the pregnancy through or terminating it. Giving birth in general is a painful and hard feat to accomplish for any woman. Given Sarah's age and size, because she is a child, giving birth was very risky. When she finally came up with the decision to abort the pregnancy and to put the traumatizing rape and memories behind her, she finds out that due to Idaho laws, she is too far along to receive an abortion. That night, that boy took her confidence, her self-esteem, and her virtue. And that pregnancy took her childhood. Sarah must not live in a world where the laws restrict her own choices for her own body. Not everyone agrees with abortion, but everyone should agree with pro-choice, that we should have the freedom to choose for our own body. Christianity has some religious branches that oppose the practice of abortion. In Idaho, we have the freedom to choose to practice in religion if we want to, even though not everyone practices it. According to Pew Research Center, Religion and Public Life states that 67% of adults in Idaho are Christians. Ironically, Christians believe in loving thy neighbor and that God gives us our own free agency to choose. They are able to believe in anything they desire, and there's a fine line between religion and state. Yet I'm afraid that line may get crossed when it comes to abortion laws. The government or religion should not prohibit the freedom of women to make their own choices about their own bodies. Women should be free to decide if they want an abortion, or if they want to meet with Planned Parenthood, or if they want to start a family. It should be their decision. We should all have that basic human right of freedom of choice. In this speech, I have discussed the positives of abortion and Planned Parenthood, the problems with restrictive laws and why we should change them, and how there are many situations where girls are struggling. So stand with me and let's give them their voice back by giving them their choice back. You never know if you'll come face to face with that decision yourself, or if a loved one will make that decision. So please stand up and vote for less restrictive laws. Make donations to facilities to help, such as Planned Parenthood. Help these women be free to make the best decision for themselves. Thank you.